Hi, everybody. This is Dawn Mitchell, and welcome to Dawn of Sports. I'm really excited for this week because my guest is someone that I've known for a long time. I consider such a dear friend, actually family, and I finally get to celebrate her. We have Leslie Jablonski coming on, and I'm sure you all know the name. If not, you'll meet her coming up. So as promised, we have Leslie Jablonski, and Leslie's name is known so much throughout Minnesota. For anyone listens that is not from Minnesota, Leslie is more than just Jack Jablonski's mom and Max Jablonski's mom. Of course, Jack now working for the LA Kings after being paralyzed in his high school season in a hockey game. And I've always wanted Leslie to invite you on the show because from day one, even before I met you, my thought was, that mom, how does she do it? How does she handle this? So I'm glad I can have you on and talk and give you your flowers today.
Well, thank you, Dawn. It's actually an honor to be on the show. So thank you.
I know you. I adore you. And when people, they always want to say, what is she like? They always want to know, like this, they think like the mystery behind Leslie Jablonski. And I just say, you know what, go back and listen to everything that Jeremy Roenick said about this family when Jack first had his accident, that he was expecting to go to the hospital and was bracing himself to what he saw in the room, you know, the sadness, whatever. He said, and I heard laughing coming out of the room. And I had to say, is this the right room? Am I going in that room over there? The joy that you emanate, your husband emanates, obviously, and your children's follow suit. In that moment, was that your default? Like, or is that just who you guys are?
I think part is that is who we are, but I also give Jack credit for that. You know, we could have gone either way. You could just take a nosedive down, or you try and be positive. And from the get-go, Jack was positive. And there was no way I could be the opposite of that. So we just followed his suit. And, you know, you made the best of a really tough situation.
And you didn't know which way he would be, right?
No, I mean, he surprised me. I mean, he was 16 and your life just does a 360. I think a lot of kids would just plummet, but he just kept a smile on his face. He welcomed everybody that came to visit him. And we just tried to make the best of it.
I know everyone says the hockey community is just amazing that way, the outpouring of love. And I know sometimes it's hard to go back and put yourself into those days. So I appreciate you actually be willing to do that.
Well, thank you.
Who surprised you the most? I know that there's endless amounts of people that showed up for you, but was there a surprise?
I think the biggest surprise was how many NHL teams showed up. And the funniest thing is, I'm sorry, Wild, but they all won the game if they came to visit Jack.
Yeah.
And so there was just team after team after team. And Jack's room was filling up with jerseys. We got in a little bit of trouble at HCMC because we were hanging them on the, like a fire thing.
Fire hazards.
Something. And so they had to come in and actually construct a bar that we could hang the jerseys on because there were so many of them.
Oh, wow.
But I just, you know, as you said, the hockey community is pretty amazing. And they really wrapped their arms around us. And to just see all these teams coming in to play the Wild and make time to come visit Jack was just really heartwarming.
Who was the coach, too, that just spent hours waiting? Wasn't there a few people that were just like, you know, like, it's okay. I will wait and wait and wait.
I think it was Barry Trotz.
Yeah.
I think. And Jack had just moved out of HCMC over to Abbott, to Courage Kenny, Sister Kenny at the time. And he wasn't having a good day. And he just said, I'm fine. I'll wait. And Jack ended up rallying a few hours later. And it was well worth it. But that was so nice because, you know, everybody's pressed for time and he stayed.
That's just incredible when he's, you know, they put their egos aside and like, do you know who I am? And I got this to do. You're just like, no, I'll wait. For people, for a young man that they had never met before in their life. And what did you see grow from Jack at that moment? I know it's hard for a 16-year-old to either embrace the reality, but just to embrace, wow, look at these people showing up for me.
I think it meant the world to him, and it really kept him afloat. And just to have one after the other team and visitors come by really put a smile on his face.
How did you stay afloat?
Same way.
Yeah.
Just, you felt the love and the support. And it was like nothing I've ever seen before. Like so many people coming through and just wanting to meet Jack and, do things for him and do things for our family. I think I gained 10 pounds that year because of all the food being brought in.
Well, I know the tribe of people that surround you, and they're fierce and they're loving, and they show up, and it's not just for that week. And it wasn't just for that first year. It's for still now.
They're still here.
That's incredible.
They're still here. Yeah.
And that also comes from you, circling yourself also. These are the people that are your inner circle.
Yeah. And our inner circle grew quite a bit, which is pretty wonderful.
And are you surprised at the people that kind of came in that are still there?
No, not really.
Yeah.
Once you get to know them and who they are, it doesn't surprise me. And I'm just grateful for their friendship and their support.
I remember I met Mike, your husband, first with, I knew of Jack because we covered the whole thing, but didn't meet him in person until very quickly thereafter. But he came to Mankato. That's how long ago it was. Mankato for training camp. And little Max was right there too. And just wonderful. Ever since then, it was like hugs, immediate hugs. And Max was like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have like 2 little brothers now. Like they were so great. And that's never changed. And what I saw, because my heart went to little Max too. Like, what happened to him to see his older brother this way and how he stepped up, like I'm his brother, and how he still is to this day. Sometimes I always feel like, let's talk about Max a little bit and kind of give him his shine, because how he handled that all at such a young age is just, he embraced it with more maturity and joy even to support his brother than I think I've ever seen in a young child before.
Yeah, no, he grew up fast. I'll say that. And, I'll never forget, like early on, we were in our kitchen and we had just come home from the hospital and Max just broke down and he just touched Jack's chair at our counter and said, I want my brother back. And that to me was just gut wrenching. But then from there on, he was just taking pride in supporting his brother. And there was several days where he wore what the Benilde kids would wear before a game, but he wouldn't change for like 4 or 5 days.
Really?
No. And he was like, I'm doing this for Jack. I'm like, yeah, but do us all a favor. You need a shower. So finally he changed.
And you know what? I think Jack too keeps things real. Right? He doesn't want people to elevate him to a level that he doesn't want to be on, right? He's like, no, you're my brother. Still joke with me. Still please tease me. And they have that relationship. How has Jack kind of kept it kind of on that level for your whole family?
Yeah. I mean, he keeps us all in check, I would say. Yeah. One funny story about Max is when we were told Jack would never move his arms or anything, Max was standing by the side of his bed in the hospital, and Jack all of a sudden reached out and slugged him. So I was like, oh my God, you're not supposed to be able to do that. Do that again. And right then his surgeon walked in and I said, you got to see what he just did. And Jack did it again. And I swear his surgeon had tears in his eyes.
Oh my goodness.
And that's where we got the line, just keep proving us wrong.
Just keep proving us wrong.
But that was little Max, and Jack just decided I'm going to be Jack. And he slugged his brother.
And you say that, he still says that, and Jack is still proving you wrong. And I'm going to jump to the present day. With every single time I check in with him, he's doing something else. He's moving something else is getting stronger. I know he has a lot of, finally, he can be part of studies and getting a lot of help. But for like 10 years, right? Almost full 10 years, every single, I would say, bit of information that you gathered, whether you partnered with Mayo or whether you partnered with a different hospital, every dollar, it all went to help someone else.
Right.
And there was not a, what about me? Ever. But now that Jack can start getting the stimulators and all of these advancements to help him to see him feed himself, to be able to do that, to drink water by himself, stuff that he always had, his friend Zach Hale, other people had to do for him. As a mom, first and foremost, how is that for you? Do you pinch yourself like when that first happened?
I do. And I get very excited. So Jack has stopped telling me when he does something, and I find out on Instagram.
Stop. Oh,
no,
okay.
Seriously, because I get excited. And so
as you should.
I know, right?
But he's like, Mom.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
But if it's on Instagram, I know it's real. And so he won't put it out there unless he knows this wasn't like a freak thing or a phantom move. Like, I really did that. And so I try to follow his Instagram, although I was blocked for a while.
It sounds like a son.
Both of them blocked me for a while.
Come on, you guys.
I know.
Oh, my God. Well, they're getting older. Pretty soon they won't.
Yeah, no, we're all good now.
Can you tell us some of these advancements that have been made that specifically have helped Jack? And we can talk about some of the other ones that have helped others.
Yeah, so he was part of an upper limb study. It's called Spinex, and they make a stimulating device. Mm-hmm. And our foundation was funding and has been funding their stimulation trials. So the first one they did was 24 patients, and it was to focus on upper limb movement. And all the patients were quadriplegics, which a lot of the studies were really focused on paraplegics, which is why Jack really couldn't participate prior to then. So he got to be one of the 24 patients, and it was like life-changing. And it's little things. It's not big. Did he get up and walk? No. It was like being able to pick something up, pinching, grabbing, grasping, grabbing a doorknob and kind of turning it. As you said, feeding himself. And he also gained back a lot of core strength, which is important. And, things just fire up. And even though, you stop the stimulation, things continued to happen. So luckily he still has the device. And I thank God for that, because I think things can only keep getting better.
Absolutely. Why do sometimes they take the device away, or
for
it's
the
for
trial,
a short term? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
It was like you use the device, you work with the different clinicians, and then when it's done, the devices go back because then they use them for another trial. But luckily, we still have Jack's, and I'm very grateful for that.
And we all know movement is life. Movement is life. And Jack and I have had conversations about pain when he started getting pain again for the first time. And he said, most people are telling me, that's horrible. It's horrible. He goes, no, I welcome it. And I said, I understand that. I totally understand that. I know as a mom, it's hard to hear that I'm feeling pain, but you have to feel that to advance, right?
The key word there is feel. For him to feel something that he shouldn't have felt, if it hurts, that's great. You don't want him to suffer, but it is a good thing in the long run.
How about all the other there are people that have been in the paraplegic studies that you have changed their lives through this foundation, through the whole Jack Jablonski Foundation, which is at first was Believe in Miracles. And now you're like, it doesn't have to be a miracle to advance science, which I thought was a specific change point. Flashpoint even in the foundation. Yeah. It was almost like you guys anchored in, like, no, we're seeing advancements and we're going to go with this. What was that like?
It was earth shattering. Like you fund the studies and you hope that things are going to happen. You hope people regain function. But, when Jack was injured, we were all told that you have to accept how things are. You have to learn how to live with paralysis. Things aren't going to get better. And that was gut wrenching. And, Jack has always said, no, I'm going to prove everybody wrong. And I think we as a foundation believed in Jack, and we thought, okay, let's do this. And so when we see different patients, benefiting from what we've done, it's like, I can't even explain how great you feel. Like one of the first guy that we worked with at Mayo, Jared Chinook, he actually was able to get up and walk the length of a football field with a walker.
Really?
And, he wasn't supposed to do that. But they did an epidural implant. So that was implanted. It's not like transcutaneous like the study Jack was doing where it's on top of the skin. And I'll remember seeing videos of him moving his feet in a sling. And then things just kept getting better and better. And then there's a video of him walking down the hall. And then apparently he walked the length of a football field. And that's like life-changing.
That is life-changing.
Yeah.
because he can feel part of who he was again. Like it's physical, but it's emotional and it's mental, and just the families that kind of get on board, like, okay, we can do this, just to give some autonomy back, some freedom back. And movement is life. And it's not just one person, Leslie. You guys have touched so many, and they've become kind of in your circle now, right?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people reach out and say, thank you so much. And, you've really changed my life. And to know we've done that, it's not a huge amount of people, but to know we have changed lives is big.
Yeah. Well, it's not maybe a huge amount to you, right? In terms of, we would love to find a cure, or I don't even know if cure is the right word, right? Advancements to, eradicating, the spinal cord injuries, or if that happens, how do we fix it? I mean, robotics is now even getting better and better.
Right.
So when you look back at the Leslie, the mom that first had to deal with this, how are you different now?
I think I've come a long way, just, seeing that things can improve. In the beginning, it was like there are dark days because, as I said, we were told that things aren't going to get better. And that was just gut-wrenching. But to see how things have evolved, not just with Jack, but just within the whole, advancement world of clinical studies and whatnot, you have a lot of hope. And one thing that I do is people have reached out who are new to the spinal cord injury world. And a lot of moms I've been talking to, especially recently. And it brings me back to where I was, where they're at now. And you don't know what to think. You don't know what to feel. But I hope I give them hope. And I think they see the advancements that Jack has made, and they want that for their sons or their daughters. It's mostly been teenage boys that have been injured. And, as a mom, I just give them a big hug.
Yeah.
And tell them it's going to be okay. And the good thing is the two I've been working with lately, they're both doing really well.
Really?
I mean, all things considered.
Right.
But, I just hope those moms can look at me and see that life does get better. You will get back to normal. You're not going to live in a hospital room and sleep on that green couch forever. You will get back to life, and it is going to get better.
And you'll have joys again.
Oh, yeah. You'll laugh again. I mean, you have to.
Yeah.
You absolutely have to.
When Jack said, okay, I mean, we saw him graduate. We all kind of were along for the ride. And he says, all right, I'm going to USC. How did you deal with that? And I know it's better for him temperature-wise on his body, because he says he can't regulate. When it gets too cold, he can't get warm. So It makes more sense to go to California. That's not like, okay, we're just going to go down to Mankato and I'm doing the, hour whatever drive. It's like, wow, how is that whole? Because again, showing who Jack is. Like, I am going to live life and I'm going to do it my way.
I think it was the best thing that happened. We were very excited for him. He got into USC on a scholarship from Swim with Mike. And they're an organization that they provide scholarships, college scholarships to disabled athletes.
Wow.
And so they've done amazing things. And if it wasn't for them, I don't think Jack would have been at USC. I think he probably would have been living at home, and we would be struggling to get him back and forth to the U or wherever. But this opportunity came up and he seized it. And it was the best thing that ever happened. And, we were excited for him. And the other thing is we found Danny, his caregiver that we've had for 10 years now. So I knew that it was going to be okay. And, California is a fun place to visit. So we were out there quite a bit, and life was good. And, sure, it's hard to let your kid go off to college, let alone someone like Jack go halfway across the country. But everything just fell into place, and it was the best thing for him.
And you have family out there, friends that are family, like the Crowleys, that kind of overlooked, so you kind of had eyes in the sky, so to speak, right?
Right. We had, Kate Crowley was great. She helped. She was she just retired. She was a therapist. I forget what kind, orthopedics therapist, whatever. Yeah. And so she was able to arrange for her students to get credit, and they would help Jack. They would go to his classes with him.
I did not know that.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I mean, somebody had to take the computer out of his backpack and, help him with lunch and whatnot. And so a lot of her students were able to help out. And so she became family. And then we got to know other families out there, and we're still friends with a lot of people that we met years ago.
When I saw the first picture that he had either put on Instagram or when I was texting him back and forth, and he's in his wheelchair with super wheels on the beach. And I'm like, that is the Jack I know, right? That's when you're like, he's going to be okay. That just fills your heart with joy, right? He'll find a way.
He finds a way, and he has a great support system out there too. He's got some great friends that look out for him and meet up with him. And, life is great, as good as it can be. And the Kings have been wonderful for him as well.
Yeah, that was my next question. Because, as a mom, you wonder, okay, he's going to age out of our insurance. He's got to get a job. He's an adult. And then to see him not only get a job with the Kings, but to thrive with them, it must have you beaming with pride.
Yeah, I'm very proud. And I know he's really happy and he loves what he's doing. And this year he got to do some color commentary on the radio. So I'm hoping he can do that again. So he's just thriving, and they're giving him the opportunities to do that.
And what people don't understand is we say, okay, he's talking on the radio. That's hard for someone who's sitting all the time. It's hard on your voice for an able-bodied person like me that I don't have to worry about that blood flow and everything like that, like using his diaphragm and using his voice. And he has taken that seriously ever since high school, hasn't he? Working on that.
He has.
That's incredible.
I mean, he's been lucky with the opportunities he's had since he was here and had his own radio show. And then, the Kings giving him this recent opportunity. It's all good.
What did he say to you about after he graduated college? And I think he knew he had a job, right, with the Kings pretty quickly after that, because he interned for them, correct?
Interned,
right?
Yeah.
Has he ever said anything to you like he knows now that he can do it? Like at life, you know what I'm saying?
He tells me not to worry so much.
Yeah.
And he's like, I've got this. I've got it. And I've got people watching my back. And I'll let you know when I need something, but I'm good.
How does that make you feel? Do you trust it?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Like as a mom, do you ever really trust it? You're always like, they can have your back, but I'm still looking.
I'm always looking.
Yeah.
I'm always watching.
You're always watching.
But I know if he needs something, he'll let us know. Or if something's not right, he'll reach out. So no news is good news sometimes.
I always say he's so brave. And I love that he trusts himself, even so much when he came out, which is the hardest thing to do, let alone everything that he had to overcome, right? And knowing that it could just totally, well, I don't care what my public persona is. This is who I am. And this is a critical juncture for me as an individual to be happy.
Right.
As a mom, you must have worried, but as a mom, you must have been proud at the same time.
Very proud.
Yes.
But it's the one time I felt like I failed as a parent because I never saw that in him. And I think when he was injured, prior to that is when he was thinking, I think I'm different and I don't think I'm straight. But then he's injured and everything for like 10 years is focused on his injury. And then it was during COVID when he was really thinking, I need to let people know who I really am.
Right.
But I never saw it. And when he was down and kind of depressed about it, we all just thought it was because of COVID.
Right.
We're all alone. We're not doing life like we used to. And then when he actually told us, I felt horrible because I just never saw it. And I'm so proud of him. And it doesn't faze me at all. It's like, good, that's who you are. I'm so glad you can finally come out with it. But as a parent to not know, it's like, how did I miss that?
And have you told that to him? What did he say to you?
I have. There's one sign that maybe I should have known. When we drive him to and from sports, whether it was baseball, hockey, or whatever, he always said, play Cher. And so, and it wasn't just him, it was his buddies. They all would sing to Cher. Well, maybe I should have known something was there.
He's like, come on, Leslie. You didn't know when I wanted to play Cher all the time. Right. That's awesome.
So the funny thing is that, that song, Do You Believe?
I love that song. Yeah, right? So I wouldn't have thought anything.
Yeah,
right?
No, it's a fun song.
It is a fun song.
But seriously, as a parent, it was like, how did I miss that? And then yet everything was so focused on the spinal cord injury. Mm-hmm. But a relief for him to come out and now just living his true self. And he's so happy and I'm so happy for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Randy Shaver here. I'm bringing back Shaver's Prep Football Podcast beginning the end of July. Every week, we'll dive into the best of Minnesota high school football, and I'm proud to say we're now powered by 10K Construction, Minnesota's go-to guys for roofing, siding, decks, windows, and everything in between. After severe weather hits, they'll even come out and give you a free, honest inspection to make sure your home is in good shape. Schedule your free honest inspection today at 10kconstruction.com or call 763-200-6064 for more information. That's 763-200-6064. The land of 10K Construction.
When people think of the Freemasons, they often think of secret handshakes and unusual hats, and of course, the pancake breakfast. Minnesota Masonic Charities would prefer that you think about the work that they do right here in our community. Places like the Masonic Cancer Center at the University of Minnesota or the Masonic Children's Hospital and the Masonic Home in Bloomington. They are just a few examples of the important work that the Freemasons support here in Minnesota. As part of the largest fraternal organization in the world, Masons have consistently answered the call when it comes to charitable needs. I am happy that Minnesota Masonic Charities has chosen Minnesota Bound and this podcast as a place to help spread the word. We look forward to learning so much more about their many programs here in the weeks to come.
I've been talking about Natreum for quite a while now. Natreum, Natreum.com. Now we have a new promo code for you. TalkNorth15 will get you 50% off your next order. So here's what I would recommend, because they have such a wide variety of great products that can help you in so many different ways. Go to the store in St. Louis Park, check out what they have, talk to the salespeople. That's what I did, and they're so knowledgeable. They can steer you in the right direction. What I found is great for my life, sleep aids, some de-stress gummies, and the balms that help with joint and muscle soreness. But you might find something completely different. And they have so many different delivery systems. You have gummies, you have dips, you have oils for gut health. You have the balms that I use all the time. You have stuff that will de-stress, stuff that will help you have fun. And as I said, what I really like is the sleep aids. Nothing better than taking one of their gummies that helps you get to sleep and just drifting off into a nice deep sleep and waking up feeling refreshed in the morning. That's what works for me. Something else might work for you. Check out Natreum.com. Use the promo code TalkNorth15 to get 15% off your next order, and enjoy.
And Max also following in his big brother's, and Jack always teases me when I say footsteps. He's like, really? Footsteps, Don? But following in Jack's path to go to USC, and he found his own way there, and now he is graduated, has a great job in finance. And I say, as a mom, that's pure success when both of your sons have found their way and they're happy.
Yeah. I mean, I'm so proud of both of them. Jack loved that Max was in his fraternity, but, Max comes in and he just takes over. He becomes the next president. And he still thinks he's the president of the Teak fraternity at USC.
De facto, or whatever they call it, emeritus.
Yeah.
He's a president emeritus of it.
Yeah.
But, you needed Max to be that person. That's who he is,
It was great because he didn't want to be Jack's little brother.
Yeah.
And he really did make a whole life for himself out there. And he just took the bull by the horn and became, this great student. He graduated with honors. And, he was practically running the fraternity. And, he's got a great group of friends who he actually still lives with, a couple of his frat brothers in Brentwood right now. And life is great for him. And I don't know if he'll be coming back. I know Jack is probably staying out there. And I think Max is also very happy out there.
Well, you have great places to visit.
Yes, we do.
Well, I want to give you personally, because I always say a woman is many things. And you're not just a wife. You're not just a mom. I know Leslie, it's the fashion powerhouse and had your own career beforehand. Can you tell everyone what you did and how did you get, I know you're from New Jersey, right?
And then
ended
Jersey.
Up here in Minnesota.
I'm a Jersey girl,
yes.
As Springsteen would say.
Jersey girl.
Oh, he's my man.
And always into fashion and just I mean, I watch you every single time you show up. You're like, oh, I look horrible. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I have work clothes and workout clothes. I got to get that middle in between. And you rock it every time. How did you get interested in all that and working for Vogue and different magazines and stuff like that?
Well, I actually worked for Mademoiselle.
Oh, it was Mademoiselle.
But I do have a funny Vogue story.
Vogue. No.
Yes. Well, Anna Wintour, who just announced she's retiring. I did not know that you could not get in the elevator if she was in the elevator.
Stop, just like the Devil Wears Prada?
Exactly. And that's
Get
true.
out of town.
So, I was probably new at my job, and I got in and I looked like Anne Hathaway's character. I had the loafers and the tights and the plaid skirt and just so not chic. But that's what, you're out of college and that's what you own until you make money. And at that point, you're an assistant, you don't make money. So I stepped in the elevator, Anna Wintour's in there and she's glaring at me. And I don't know, I'm supposed to get out, the door's shut, and we ride up. I get off at 7 and I say bye, and she doesn't react.
Oh my God.
I go into my office and I said, oh my God, I just rode up the elevator with Anna Wintour, and everybody was like, you did what? I was like, yeah, it was kind of cool. And they're like, oh my gosh. And so then from there I learned, no, never again.
Did you ever see her again?
I've seen her, but not in the elevator.
I would have said hi every time just to get her.
Yeah.
She was probably thinking, well, does this person not know? Or I'm glad you did that. I don't like people like that. Like, you can't ride up in the elevator. But
I know.
You can't make eye contact.
And she always had her sunglasses on. Always.
That is exactly like the Devil Wears Prada. That's got to be who they fashioned the character after,
well,
right?
Yeah. Actually, it was written by one of her assistants.
Oh, and I didn't know.
Yeah,
okay.
So she wrote it, and she was Andy, the character. And that was about Anna, and it was pretty dead on.
Pretty dead on.
Yeah.
But she ended up having a soft spot somewhere, right?
I think probably. I mean, I don't know her, never worked for her.
So what did you do exactly at Mademoiselle?
Well, I started in the merchandising department, which is a misleading term. We're basically, in the magazine world, there's church and state. So there's business, and then there's the creative fashion side. So I was on the business side. And basically what we would do was travel around the country to bring the magazine to life, but it was also a vehicle for our advertisers to get their products out there. So we worked with department stores, and then I actually initiated the mall center stage with Mademoiselle. That way we could get more of like the drugstore brands into the gift bags and into the shows. So I traveled a lot all over the country and brought the magazine to life, and slowly learned how to dress better and,
and it
present
never left
yourself.
you.
Well, thank you. So I was there for 10 years.
Yeah.
And then I had met Mike, and I was ready to move on. Like 10 years is enough at one magazine.
Yeah.
And so 5 months after we met, he was transferred back to the Twin Cities. He was working for 3M. And he said, I'd love for you to come, but I know you have a successful career out here. And I said, nope, I'll go.
Oh.
And so I came out here, and then I don't know if you remember Good Company.
Yeah.
So somehow they got word that I was in town, and I ended up doing like 25 fashion segments for them, and just freelanced and did all of Mademoiselle's shows from like the Mississippi River west for the next year. And then we bought a house, and I'm like, okay, enough freelancing. So then I ended up at Aveda, and I was in the PR department there. And funny story, Horst would pull up to the building, and our receptionist would see the car coming, and he'd say, Ginger Grant, report to the office or something. So we heard Ginger Grant, and we knew that Horst was coming in, and it was like, everybody run to your spot and make sure you look busy. So
that's a great code name.
Yeah.
Ginger Grant's reporting for duty.
But then Horst, I'll never forget, one day he's in the cafeteria, and I hear him go, who is Ginger Grant? I need to meet her.
Please tell me no one told them.
No, they just said, oh, she's a temp.
Oh, okay.
And that's why she gets paged a lot.
Okay.
And we didn't know he was hearing the page because he's in the car. But sometimes maybe he got in the building and, we're still calling Ginger Grant. So we never did tell him, no.
Well, the cat's out of the bag now.
Yeah.
Not that he's going to listen to Dawn Mitchell's podcast, but that's hilarious.
Yeah. So I was up there for a year and a half, and then I went to a small agency, and I did PR for like Sunglass Hut and Serengeti Eyewear, and then American Crew men's grooming products.
You're a powerhouse.
It was fun. So, I promoted fluff all my life. And then when Jack was injured, I was like, what am I going to do? And obviously I had to stop working, but then you realize promoting shampoo isn't that much different than promoting paralysis and recovery and all that. It's the same principles. It's just a different brand or product. But I thank God I had the background I did, because I think it really helped, with Jack and with the foundation and where we're at today.
I remember the first event, gosh, it has, decade ago, right? Obviously more than a decade ago.
We're in our 13th year.
Yeah. And I remember walking in going, and I knew you were doing it all back then, you have people helping you.
No,
yes.
We have a great board.
A great board. But at first it was not as it is now. Now it's established. You got the board. But in those first years, you were doing 99% of it, I would say, yourself. Hauling stuff, setting stuff up, making sure so-and-so is giving something to the silent auction. Like, you're a powerhouse.
Well, I maybe it looked that way, but it wasn't just me.
Oh, okay.
I really had a great group of people helping. And maybe a lot of it was behind the scenes, and then you would see me out there. But no, and to this day, they still are there and helping with our events. It's been great.
It is. But some of the things that you guys get, kudos to whoever gets all of your silent auction items.
Thank you. That's a group. That's not just me.
I walk there and I'm like, what? Who's that guitar from? What is this from? What has been like the most outrageous thing that you think for the silent auctions? First of all, I'm the first one to say I was the happy recipient of going to Tuscany on that trip. And
I'm so jealous, by the way.
And you should go. It's amazing. So Yvonne, who says he only rents out his villa to charities.
Great.
For this, that's it. That's his heart and soul. He was the one that actually cooked our dinner. He owned the villa. He's the one that had all of the recipes. He's in that Under the Tuscan Sun.
He's in that movie?
He has a bit part in it.
Wow.
But the chef, like all those recipes that came in the book, because I just saw the movie. So I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't realize there was a book, but you get the book. All those recipes are his.
Oh, that's crazy.
And he's friends with the woman who was the inspiration and the everything for Under the Tuscan Sun. And it's right there where so that house that's in the movie is really down at the bottom of the hill. And his villa is at the very top in Cortona on this top of the mountain. It was just lovely. And still to this day, I'm friends with him on Facebook and Instagram. I mean, he's just an amazing. And he said, I'll only do it for charities that I believe in. Like, he wants to do good.
That's awesome.
So for me, I'm like, well, that's just perfect. I don't know how the Jablonskis found this man, but he's a gem as well.
Yeah. It was actually through consignment.
Really?
So some of our bigger items come from consignment, but a lot of our items are actually just donated.
Yeah. I don't know how you do it all. Is what I'm saying.
Well, I don't do it all. I do and have a lot of help.
I know your committee, and they're amazing. I don't know how, when I say you, it's like kind of the collective you.
It's collective.
Because year after year after year, you have this success. And that's something. Foundations sometimes can't sustain that.
Yeah, I think we're really lucky. And to think we're in our 13th year is huge. I mean, it's a big year for us. Jack was injured 13 years ago. 13 years ago this year, we started the foundation. And I think if you can't get past 10, then you're going to sink. And to see us keep going, even through COVID and tough times, I'm really proud of what we've done and the people that have made it happen.
And it's fun.
It is fun.
Every single event that you raise money for is fun. There's joy in the air. And I think that's what sets it apart. I really do. There's I sometimes have gone to, or you hear of so many different charities, and they're fantastic. And you go there and it's, I don't know, sometimes like your just heart breaks over and over and over again. And while you go in there and there's a seriousness to all the work that the foundation is doing, you also find joy in it.
Right.
How do you continue to do that?
It's just who we are.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's like you said, every event is fun. And if it's not, then why are we doing it?
Yeah.
Like we have our golf tournament coming up, and it's not a normal golf tournament. Sure, it's a shotgun start and there's things that are just in line with a normal charity event, but so many holes have something fun going on. We have watering holes, we have competitions. And just to have Jack on the 18th hole, meet and greet everybody makes a big difference. So we have that coming up on August 11th. Registration is still open. And then a week before that, we have a new event. It's at Back Channel Brewing.
Oh,
So-
really? What is that one?
So they do community nights on Tuesday nights in the summer.
Uh-huh.
And so on Tuesday, the 5th of August, we're
Okay.
going to be the charity. And we get to come in and meet and greet their people. We can have a loop running of, a video of what we do. We can give away items and whatnot. But they're also going to unveil the new 13-year anniversary beer.
Nice.
So that'll come out that night. So it's a free event.
What are these dates again? That's August 5th?
August 5th.
Okay. Tuesday, August 5th.
And then Monday, August 11th.
August 11th.
And then we're still waiting to find out our gala date, but it will be in the fall.
Okay.
And that's co-hosted by The Wild, which will now be at the Grand Casino Arena.
That's right. Just dropped today.
Yep.
So we're joking around, like, what are the nicknames? There's some nicknames. Some of my friends that work over there, they can't say some of these nicknames. I'm like, but you know what? Some people are going to say, like one of my friends said, they should call it the jackpot. I'm like, that. My friend that works there's like, no, we're not calling it the jackpot. So it's like, would it be called the Grand? Because everyone called the X.
Right.
So I'm like, the Grand Casino Arena. What would you call it?
I'm not sure yet.
Yeah.
I'm still processing the change.
Are you going to the casino?
I'm not a big casino person. So.
I'm not either, but that's what you'd be saying if you're going to the forum. Or I'm being born and raised in New England. The Garden, when it was the Fleet Center, was always the Garden still.
Mm-hmm.
Some people call it, you go in the new Garden. Like, oh, yeah. And someone goes, the Fleet Center. No one called it the Fleet Center. And then when TD Bank took it over, it's the TD Bank Garden again.
Okay.
So, like, I wonder, are people still going to call it the X? Probably not.
I don't know. I mean, it's kind of like we live on, I can never say it correctly, Bede-Makaska.
Yeah.
Used to be like Calhoun. I slip and say Calhoun, but then I get corrected really fast. So you kind of have to adopt the new word.
And I
the
don't
new
even
name.
know if that's how you say it, right? Some people say it all different ways.
Right.
Like Bede-Makaska. Okay. The Makasa reminds me of that Michael Jackson song, which gets in my head. So yeah, sometimes you just say Calhoun, but yes.
Yeah.
It's hard. Just say that, the bigger lake in the chain of lakes.
Yeah, we're in the middle lake.
In the middle lake. Okay, so August 5th, August 11th. Those are the big dates coming up.
Exactly.
And then in the fall, we await the big gala coming up. For you, when you have these things over and over again, how does it not become like pressure?
Well, it always is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can't deny that.
Yeah.
But you do what you have to do and it gets done. And, I have Mary Jane, who's our director of operations. She's amazing. And now we have David, who's our director of development. And I couldn't do things without the two of them.
Yeah.
I really couldn't. And then you have the board of directors, and they're great. They step up and they get things done. And, everybody does it with a smile.
They're powerhouses too.
They are.
And they're all great, amazing people.
Yeah. And some of them have been there since the get-go.
Yes.
Which is pretty incredible.
And it all for me, I had this vision because you were talking about Jack on the 18th hole. I remember last year when he had that special chair and he could stand up and he putted and he was sinking putts.
I know.
And just to see him beaming with pride, but also to see the players that were coming down there to be like, what?
Yeah.
To see firsthand, why they're there, what monies they're raising, and just not only hope, but like a physical, tangible thing to see.
Right. That was the Verticat.
Yeah, that was amazing.
And I mean, there's proof where Jack had to grip and hold a golf club. And we used some Velcro to help, but he was still able to do that and take his wrist shots and whatever he did to sink those putts. And it was a lot of fun. And honestly, it was like the first time he was able to participate in his own golf tournament.
Yeah.
So that was a great thing.
Hopefully you'll get the Verticat again this year.
I hope so.
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
Fingers are crossed.
Fingers crossed, Verticat. We're just saying, Verticat. When you look to the future, do you allow yourself to go there, or do you just take life now, just
It's one day at a
a
time.
day at a time?
When I look at the future, I have hope. And I just hope that things continue to improve for Jack. But, we don't know how much function he'll get back. And he's 13 years into this. And to see him still recovering lost functions is huge. But how much more can that happen? I don't know. No one knows.
Mm.
So I just kind of look at the present, and I'm grateful for what we have. And I do believe things will continue to get better. Will he ever get up and walk? I don't know. But if he can just get hand function back 100% and be independent, that would be life-changing. And I think that's his wish right now, is just let me be more independent. And that would make a big difference.
I think when people look at Jack and see the victories he's made, it's part and parcel and cannot be separated from the victories your family has made. Because when an injury like that happens, it doesn't just happen to the person. It happens to the family.
And the friends.
And the friends. And the extended family. And do you ever allow yourself to think how it's changed you personally now here?
I mean, it definitely has changed me. Our world is a lot bigger, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I've kind of gone outside my comfort zone, and I think I'm grateful for that. And I'm just grateful for all the support, whether, it's people we know or don't know. I mean, all the people that support the foundation, it's because of Jack's story, I think. And that's a great thing.
Well, even in that answer, Leslie, you don't even realize it. That's a positive. You ask some people how my life has changed and they'd go down the other road, and your immediate thing is a positive. And that's one of the things why I absolutely love you.
Well, thank you.
And we will definitely have red wine together again soon. That's also helped you through, right?
A little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. Just family, friends, enjoying life, and dealing with what you have to. But I always say, I think you're one of the most beautiful, strongest women that I've met. That's why I wanted you today on our program, because it's about celebrating strong, loving women. So
thank you, Dawn.
Yeah,
and I would say the same about you.
Thank you. Well, I'm going to be at all the events.
Good.
So
oh, good.
You're still stuck with me.
Yay.
And we'll go to some of those fun holes at the golf tournament.
Oh, for sure.
All right, everybody. Thank you for listening. Leslie Jablonski. Leslie, I just know the future's going to be even better.
Well, thank you. I hope so.
Thank you.